Company.
Tonight on CTV3 News, the family of Derek O, who died at the hands of officers after being left inside the police van, hires senior counsel Dean Barrow to sue the Belize Police Department for O's death. Campo Williams speaks on the murder charge withdrawn from Nimrod Tillit, Torontoiano, who was accused of fatally wounding Bernard Timmons on Independence Day last year. A decisive decision made by Cabinet when it comes to the sugar industry. We'll tell you what it is. And the Orange Walk Police Formation adds 2 new vehicles to its fleet. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Thursday, May 11th, 2023.
I might have just heard the greatest voice of her generation.
Maybe.
Maybe. It's got to have a hook.
A hook?
Yeah.
I'll give it a hook.
That'll be $50. Thank you. Wait, hey, this 50 is a fake.
How do you know it's a fake?
What are you talking about, sir? How can I identify a genuine note from a fake note?
Well, a genuine 50 has a watermark with the Jaguar and the written words of the 50, also a thread.
Know your money and know a fake one when you see it. Do not rely on any one security feature. Look for the clarity and quality of printing. The printed lines and colors should be sharp and clear. Feel the quality of the paper and the raised print. Hold the note up to the light to see the windowed security thread. It should form one complete line when held up to the light. The watermark and denominational electrotype. The Jaguar is the watermark in the $100 and $50 notes. The Sleeping Giant is the watermark in the $20, $10, $5, and $2 notes. The see-through feature. The parts of the design printed on the back should fit exactly within the unprinted areas of the front to form the complete design. Check the $100 note for the toucan hologram with the periwinkle flower overprint. Tilt it to see the small images of the toucan and the numeral 100. Check the $50 note for the green foil angelfish. Check even closer. Use an ultraviolet light to see the fluorescent features. Use a magnifier to see the microlettering. Tiny letters that read Central Bank of Belize, and the value of the note. Stop the circulation of counterfeit Belize currency notes. Pass all counterfeits to the police at once. It is a criminal offense to hold or use a counterfeit. Be safe. Be sure. Know your money.
Good evening with your news, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. It has been almost exactly 9 months since the tragic passing of 28-year-old Derek O, and his family have now taken the decision to seek legal recourse against the police department and the government of Belize for his death. The entire nation was flabbergasted when they learned of O's death this past August. The 20-year-old died as a result of a heat stroke after he was left inside a locked police van for over 15 hours under the blazing summer sun at the Corozal police station. 4 officers, namely Sergeant Rosario Romero, Police Constable Albert Borland, who were the detaining officers, Inspector Isaiah Sanchez, who was the commanding officer, and Errol Peralta, who was the driver of the police van, were subsequently charged with manslaughter for negligently causing the death of young Derek O. While these officers are awaiting court proceedings, O's family says they have not received any help from the police department in the 9 months since Derek's death. His mother today spoke out for the first time, saying that while no amount of money can compensate the loss of her youngest child, the department must pay for the role in his most tragic passing.
Para mí ha sido difícil. Para mí ha sido difícil porque ya van a ser 9 meses el domingo que le arrancaron la vida de mi hijo y hasta ahorita no hemos visto ni un resultado, nada. Y como les vuelvo a decir, cuando vino Chester Williams, él dijo que se va a hacer justicia y que va a mover piedra tras piedra. Yo lo único que yo pido que se haga justicia y que el gobierno pague por los daños que le ha causado en mi familia, porque ellos no saben todo lo que mi hijo y yo teníamos planeado, un futuro por delante, que teníamos muchas cosas para seguir adelante. Y no se vale que por ser policías nos van a dejar solo así, porque supuestamente los policías están para cuidar a Belice, no están para matar jóvenes, porque mi hijo estaba lleno de vida. Era un muchacho bien saludable, un muchacho que tenía muchos planes, porque esto pasó el 14 de agosto. Y por ese motivo ellos dijeron que van a hacer algo y hasta ahorita no se ha hecho nada. Y precisamente ayer yo fui a Belice y todos los gastos que yo ando haciendo, nadie viene a decir, o yo lo voy a hacer, y para mí es doloroso. Porque no saben el dolor cuando yo siento de remover papeles tras papeles de mi hijo. Que tengo que llevar esto, que tengo que llevar, es doloroso para mí, como yo les vuelvo a decir, ni todo el dinero del mundo puede regresarle mi felicidad, porque mi hijo no tiene precio. Yo creo que para una mamá jamás un hijo tiene precio. Y yo lo que quiero que se haga justicia y que ya basta que estos policías estén maltratando a esos jóvenes. Ya basta que porque supuestamente se creen la ley van a andar lastimando, porque a mi hijo me lo lastimaron. Porque mi hijo cuando me lo entregaron, mi hijo estaba bien cocinado, mi hijo estaba bien deshecho, mi nene me lo golpetearon, aunque digan que no, me lo golpetearon.
The family has sought the legal counsel of attorney Dean Barrow and are seeking compensation in the sum of $300,000. That money, according to Vanessa O, would help to realize her brother's biggest dream, which was to better their mother's life.
And people don't know, like, how we have been struggling. Even sometimes, like, we cannot cry. Like my brother in front of my mom because we have to be strong for her. And even when I see her crying, I have to tell her, mom, just relax, keep down, everything is okay. Like, he's in a better place. And my mom, sometimes she wants to get some panic attack, but we have to talk to her. People don't see that and don't notice that. Many people think like they have forgotten, or no, the fact is that we only us know how we have suffered. When my sister wants to cry, I cannot come and hug her and cry together because I have to be strong for her. Even my mom, when she see like us crying, she has to put herself strong sometimes. And the fact that the process has been very difficult, that if it was like how they said in the beginning, that they would move stone by stone to make justice, and that it would be easy for us, like, believe me, I think this would be more easier for my mom and for us, because every time, like, when they bring us papers, like, it's just like the story is getting like again, like revival, like all the same pain over and over. If this was like they put themselves like the part of my family and try to make this process easier, and make like they said, supposedly they wanted it to easier because they said that this doesn't have to go to court. If the government makes an agreement, this doesn't have to go to court. But why we are going to court, like, why is the process like wanting to go to court, is because there's no help to my family, there's no help, no consideration. And maybe because they see that we live in a humble family, in a humble house, because we don't have like all the resources. Because if I think if we were a family of money, like, or those big companies in Belize, they would move, the government would want to make an agreement. But because we're of a humble family, I think, like, that's when it comes that when the power wants to abuse the lower ones. The fact that the process has been very difficult, that if it was like how they said in the beginning, that they would move stone by stone to make justice, and that it would be easy for us, like, believe me, I think this would be more easier for my mom and for us, because every time, like, when they bring us papers, like, it's just like the story is getting like again, like revival, like all the same pain over and over. If this was like they put themselves like the part of my family and try to make this process easier, and make like they said, supposedly they wanted it to easier because they said that this doesn't have to go to court. If the government makes an agreement, this doesn't have to go to court. But why we are going to court, like, why is the process like wanting to go to court, is because there's no help to my family, there's no help, no consideration. And maybe because they see that we live in a humble family, in a humble house, because we don't have like all the resources. Because if I think if we were a family of money, like, or those big companies in Belize, they would move, the government would want to make an agreement. But because we're of a humble family, I think, like, that's when it comes that when the power wants to abuse the lower ones.
Speaking on the matter today, Prime Minister John Brisenia reiterated words of the Commissioner of Police, Chester Williams, in saying that the issue now only remains as to the determination of a sum which is to be afforded to the O family.
Like you said, that they have filed suit through Barrow and Williams law firm. I am sure that what is going to be contested is not the issue of liability. The AG ministry is going to accept liability where whose debt is concerned. The issue of dispute might be the issue of quantum, and the court do provide a mechanism by which quantum is determined when it comes to an unlawful debt case. And so the AG ministry is going to be guided by that. I am sure that it's not going to be that contentious. It's just a matter of working out the quantum, and I think that we might arrive at that decision at mediation. Well, we do have a court system that is in motion, and those officers are before.
The Commissioner of Police today also gave an update on the ongoing court proceedings against the 4 police officers who were charged in connection with this matter. In addition to the legal case, Campo Williams says the officers are also currently facing an internal police tribunal, which is to be convened in the coming weeks.
That matter, the DPP was not too contented with the evidence we have, and so she have issued further. Well, we do have a court system that is in motion, and those officers are before the court. It is going to be an indictable matter to be heard at the Supreme Court, and so I think the PI was held about a week or so ago, and so the matter is now before the Supreme Court, and we'll see where that goes from there. There is also a matter before the police tribunal that is also going to be heard either this month or next month.
Three-time accused murderer Nimrod Tillett is a free man tonight. His most recent murder charge came in 2022 after he was accused of fatally wounding Bernard Timmons, a librarian from Belize City, who came to Orange Walk on September 21st to enjoy the Independence Parade and ended up dead in an alley on the Belize-Corozal Road after being involved in an argument at a Chinese store located in the vicinity from where he was murdered. Tillett, we understand, was freed of the murder charge due to a lack of evidence. According to the DPP, and we quote, the police were initially advised that the evidence that they had forwarded for consideration was insufficient to sustain a charge. They nonetheless charged the accused. The file was later submitted to the office and the position remained the same. The DPP went on to say no further evidence had been gathered. In the circumstances, it was directed that the matter could not proceed to a preliminary inquiry and the charge should be withdrawn. Today, Commissioner of Police Chester Williams was in Orange Walk and we asked him what went wrong, since even the Minister of Police, Karim Musa, was of the belief that the department had enough evidence against Nimrod to convict him for Timmons' murder.
That matter, the DPP was not too contented with the evidence we have, and so she have issued further directive for us to do certain things. The police are going to comply with the instructions given by the DPP and see if we can get additional evidence so that we'll be able to present back to her and then a determination will be made.
Tillett has faced a murder charge 3 times and has walked off from every single one of them. In February of 2009, he was accused of the brutal killing of 44-year-old Enrique Castillo, and then in 2020, he was charged for the murder of 30-year-old Abner Novello, a farm caretaker of Oak Creek Village, Orange Walk. When talking to The Guardian, a daily British publication, a few days ago, Prime Minister John Bressende was asked if Belize would be next to leave the Commonwealth realm. His response was, quote, "I think the change is quite high. It's quite likely." So, should Belize remain with the monarchy as the head of the state, or should we become a republic? While that is the question that is being discussed around the table lately, Leader of the Opposition, Shine Barrow, has his own opinion on the issue and how the decision should be made.
My position in the discussions that we had was not trying to convince the chairman or the Constitution Commission that the monarch should go. The discussion is how, and so that has to be done by a referendum. I completely disagree with the Prime Minister of Belize to say that the House will make that decision. That is not a decision for the House of Representatives. As much as I would like for the head of state to be the Prime Minister or President, whatever the people will decide. I believe the monarch should have gone when we got our independence, but it did not happen that way. We are here now, and it is a decision that should be made at a referendum. The matter is under discussion internally, so we have not formulated a position, a party position as far as against the monarch per se. What we have decided is it should be done in a referendum. There should be a referendum on the issue. However, I get a response of apathy. There are people that, yes, the monarch should go, but you know what? We're concerned with cost of living. We're concerned with crime. We're concerned with a broken healthcare system. We're concerned with unemployment. We don't care about no King of England. We don't care about it. That is what I have experienced internally, and that is what I saw from the interviews that you've done. The idea that removing the monarch, the British monarch, as our head of state would have some type of negative impact is absolute untruth, absolute myth, absolute propaganda.
Where Barrow got the idea that the House will make the decision is anybody's guess. Today, Prime Minister John Briceño told the media the decision to become a republic or remain under the monarchy is for Belizeans to make in a referendum.
We've always said that this is a decision that would have to go to referendum. But the point that I made to the Guardian and to everybody when they asked me is that we have set up the People's Constitutional Commission. And the idea is that the People's Constitutional Commission is going to go around and getting the views of people. Once they get those views, they're going to compile a report. That report then will go to the National Assembly. And then if there's going to be any constitutional changes, especially one as big as whether we should stay with a monarchy or a republican system. And a republican system simply means, it does not mean that we are going to change our way of governance or parliamentary system. It could be presidential, it could be parliamentary. It simply means whether we're going to keep the monarchy as the head of government. I believe that is of such importance that it has to go to referendum. So I don't know what the leader of the opposition is talking about.
Coming up next, Cabinet agrees to changes in the application process for sugar exportation. Stay tuned.
Students and children are important to us. That's why Mayor Lodrick Shepherd and your Orange Walk Town Council have started the construction of a new sidewalk that starts at the gate of Muffles College and will go all the way into Tate Street, passing in front of Chapel School. This will keep children out of vehicular danger, making the area a child-friendly zone. We will continue to create infrastructure to safeguard our children. We will continue to work for you and with you, because only together progress continues.
Sign up for Smart Share Plan and save big. Whether you're a small entrepreneur starting up your business, a student on a limited budget, or a family trying to save, this is the plan for you. With unlimited SMS, calls, and data, we help you save. Get up to 5 lines for as low as $30 per line monthly, only with Smart. Sign up today at any Smart showroom or sales manager countrywide. So get your business going, share more memories with friends, and be ready for the day with Smart.
Come on!
When hungry or craving, when laughter or tears, enjoy the best snacking or flavors are here. Asadas, bocadas, chiladas, doradas, delicious for snacking, done right and done here.
Done right, done here.
Something's been bothering me a little. I have done all the things a wife is supposed to do. The house, the meals. Where is the payback? I'm very attracted to you.
Oh.
Would you be interested in having an affair? You two just looked at each other like you got a secret. I just don't want anybody to get hurt.
On Wednesday, we told you about the Cabinet's intervention as it relates to the current situation involving the BSCFA, who are concerned about fair trade premiums, which their members have not yet received for sugarcane delivered during the 2021-2022 crop season, as well as the current 2022-2023 crop season. The government has been looking at the situation for several weeks after the matter was brought up by the BSCFA, who recently met with Tate and Lyle representative Julia Clark, where they were informed that all fair trade premiums had been paid out to eligible cane farmers, which excluded members of the BSCFA. Today, in an interview with the media, the Prime Minister gave an update on that matter, adding that while GOB is not in a position to intervene in the affairs of private entities, they have made the decision to seek enforcement to the application process for sugar exportation within the Sugar Act, which will ensure impartiality within the industry.
What's basically what Cabinet has decided is that under the Sugar Industry Act of 2001, there is an application process for the exportation of sugar, and it requires the exporter, and at that time there was only one, which was BSI, but now you have Santander. So now it's important more than ever for us to be able for there to be full accountability as to the sugar, as to where it's being sold and to who it's going to be sold to. And so that's what now this mechanism is going to do, enacting that part of the mechanism. But with one change, that the Minister Mai has recommended to Cabinet that instead of him signing, which is already on the Act, he is going to empower the Sugar Control Board, the Belize Sugar Control Board, or what we refer to as the Sugar Board, for them to be able to sign the export licenses.
The Belize Police Department has a mandate to protect and serve the Belizean populace, but in order to do so, they must be well equipped to respond to reports in a timely manner. Recognizing the need to upgrade the resources of every department, today in Orange Walk, Prime Minister John Briceño handed over the keys to 2 brand new vehicles to Commissioner of Police Chester Williams.
The police needs to be mobile to be able to give the protection that our citizens expect from the police department. And so today here we're handing over this vehicle. Along with that, we're also handing over 2 radios that my office is also donating to the police department. Communication is important, mobility is important. Policing is not just being here at the station, but to being out in the field, in some instances walking in the neighborhoods, but at the same time to be able to respond very quickly. And that's what our government is trying to do, working along with the police to be able to provide a better service and have our citizens feel safer.
In a meeting held with residents of Trawl Farm Village in Orange Walk, one of the concerns was the response of officers in a timely manner. With 2 additional vehicles added to the fleet, officers should experience an improvement in transportation and have the ability to be more responsive.
Well, first and foremost, let me say thanks to the Prime Minister for making this donation possible to the Orange Walk Police Formation. A couple of weeks ago, we had a meeting at the Trawl Farm area discussing the issue of crime, and at that meeting people were concerned about security and the need for additional mobility in Orange Walk town. That was raised to the Prime Minister, and quickly he decided that, you know what, I'm going to respond to the need of the people in Orange Walk, and so the vehicle came about today, and so we are grateful. I'm sure that Orange Walk people are going to be extremely happy to see that the police will be able to move around more freely.
Additionally, 2 radio equipment were handed over to the Belize Police Department. The 4 regional members of the Sugar Association of the Caribbean, SAC, met on Monday virtually and elected Mac McLachlan from Belize Sugar Industries Limited, American Sugar Refining, BSI ESR, as chairman, succeeding Jamaica's R. Carl James. At its annual general meeting, the directors appointed McLachlan chairman of the association for the remainder of the 2022-2023 financial year and 2023-2024. At the same time, the directors expressed their heartfelt appreciation to the outgoing chairman, R. Carl James of Jamaica, for his consistent and sterling contributions to the regional sugar industry. Things have sweetened up regionally for the sugar trade as Guyana and Barbados are rebounding to meet their production targets and planning to increase them. Belize, meanwhile, is set to produce 126,000 tons of sugar cane according to BSI-ASR, as the crop season started more or less on time and has not been plagued by weather or production delays. Between Jamaica, Belize, Guyana, and Barbados, the CARICOM region's demand for brown sugar is being completely met by regional production, and the association hopes this will continue with a monitoring mechanism for sugars established to avoid a repeat of sugar from Central America sneaking in. The directors received an update on the association's proposed work plan. Key components of the plan are green energy production, carbon credits and markets, food security, climate resilience, and integrated pest management, among other cross-cutting areas for sugar-producing states, the regional agriculture sector, and the wider CARICOM. Members are currently conducting internal consultations, country and company, with each member identifying priority areas for implementation. A special technical working group with representation from each member will meet later this month to finalize the plan and decide on the next steps to operationalize the plan based on the agreed focus areas. The SAC says it continues to work diligently to play an active part in the regional agricultural sector plan, which aims to reduce CARICOM's food import bill by 25% by the year 2025. Additionally, SAC looks forward to working with the CARICOM Special Ministerial Task Force on Food Security. Brandt lost its lucrative contract to administer the nightly Bolido and Sunday lottery draw after government revoked their license. The last time the Sunday lottery was played was April 30th, and since then, Belizeans have been asking how soon sales and draws will resume. Well, it seems it will take a few more weeks if we go by what the Prime Minister has stated on the matter.
As you know, we went through a lengthy process with the Brad's company. Whatever name they have, they can constantly change names. And I think it's deliberate to confuse people as to who the real owners are. And maybe you need to ask the former Prime Minister, who is the real owner? Because I'm sure he knows who is the real owner. I believe, let me put it this way, I believe he knows who the real owner is. And if he doesn't, then he needs to be held for being irresponsible. That's another matter. Most importantly, we had to go through a lengthy process with them to give them an opportunity to be able to correct the areas that they were not complying in the agreement. If we had before then started to go through the process of setting up the Bolido and doing everything, I am certain that Mr. Barrow would jump on that and said that we had already decided to cancel it even before it was cancelled. So we could not do anything. Our hands were tied. We were giving them an opportunity. They failed to comply, and in the interest of our citizens, we cancel it. Now we're in the process of setting up a company. We're going to register a company that's going to be owned by the government of Belize. And as I said, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. All we need to do is to look at how the telecoms have been selling talk time. So instead of government having to hire hundreds of sellers, we're looking at probably maybe 4 or 5 major sellers, and then they get their sellers and they take care of paying people who win and whatever. The idea is that then the company is going to set up a server and looking at probably doing it electronically and on paper, through electronic means. And by doing that, then we would be able to control every single sale. We know which seller sold, how much is sold, what has to be paid out. And if a citizen feel that they have been taken advantage of, they can come to the company and say, well, here's my ticket or here's on my phone that I bought. We could look it up and say whether that sale was made. I explain all of this just to point out that we are now working in setting it up. And once we reach the point to make the announcement, we are going to make an announcement. There's nothing to hide, but we could not act until after that decision was made.
On Wednesday, April 26, the government made the announcement that the Lotteries Committee, at a meeting on April 20th, decided to revoke the exclusive license held by BGGL to administer the government lotteries. In this announcement, The Briseno administration said the license revocation was due to material and substantial breaches of the conditions of the exclusive license and the Lotteries Act and its regulations. On December 23, 2022, the Lotteries Committee wrote Brads a 5-page letter outlining a laundry list of alleged breaches of the terms of its exclusive license and relevant laws and requested that the company explain why the committee should not revoke its license. Attorney for BGGL, Dean Barrow, submitted to the committee what was purported to be a refutation of each claim, and Barrow further claimed that wherever there was an omission, it was not so substantial as to warrant revocation because the omissions did not amount to a breach of the company's license. He also argued that BGGL was not being allowed due process as no opportunity was provided for the company to remedy the alleged breaches. Barrow pointed out that revocation was a last resort that should not be summarily imposed because to do so would be contrary to fair play and good commercial practice. That response letter was followed up by another communication from Barrow and Williams acting on behalf of Contact Technologies Limited, a Cayman Islands company which is said to have acquired shares in BGGL over the last few years. Contact made the claim that the holder of the current license is not the same as Brad's Gaming Company Limited, but that the Briseno administration was blending the two and was using the supposed non-compliance of the previous licensee to threaten the current licensee. According to Senior Counsel Barrow, Kim Shee, the managing director of Brad's, does not agree that the government had proper justification for the revocation of the license and will therefore seek compensation for the remaining 7 years on the contract ending March 31st, 2030. The intention is to seek a court declaration that the revocation is unlawful. However, Barrow clarified that Brad's will not seek the restoration of the license because the government is within its rights to revoke the license since the lotteries belong to the government. Prime Minister Honorable John Briseno departed the country today en route to Antigua, Guatemala to attend the 9th Summit of Heads of State and/or Government of the Association of Caribbean States. Prime Minister Briseno will also hold bilateral discussions with the President of the Republic of Guatemala, Slovenia's Deputy Prime Minister, and representatives from Spain, Italy, and the United Arab Emirates. The Prime Minister is expected to return to the country on May 15th. During his absence, Honorable Cordell Hyde, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Natural Resources, Petroleum and Mining, will hold over as the Prime Minister. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Friday, May 12th, here on CTV3 and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/CTV3BelizeNews or our YouTube channel at CTV3NewsBZ. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.